Last time we discussed the Harchokos when it comes to beds. Now we'll move on to some other miscellaneous halachas of Harchokos, and hopefully we'll finish today. So the first halacha we'll talk about is a shaky bench. A husband is not allowed to sit on the shaky bench with his wife, even if they're sitting on opposite sides, because as soon as one person moves, they can feel the movement of the other person, and that would be a problem. So that would be a problem there also when it comes to canoeing or when it comes to on a rowboat. That would also be a problem. However, it is permissible to have somebody sitting between you. So if you have a child sitting between the husband and the wife on the shaky bench, that would be mutter. It also comes up to shiloh when you're talking about a couch. Sometimes a couch has one long cushion, and therefore it would be usher for a husband and a wife to sit on that couch, even if they're sitting on opposite sides, because since it's one long cushion, when one person moves, the other person can feel that movement. That's a problem. However, there are couches that have different cushions, and if the husband's sitting on one cushion and the wife's sitting on another cushion, that is going to be permissible. Ramosha says that when it comes to Kol Isha, you're really not supposed to listen to your wife singing when she is a nida, and therefore the wife should also know that when your husband's around, you should try to be careful not to sing when he is around. Now the Chachamim also said that it's usher to stare at certain places that are on your wife. So the general category, what they said is mekaymos mechusim, places that are generally covered. And the place can explain that what that means is places that are generally covered inside the house, what she normally covers inside her house. So there are certain ladies that don't cover their hair inside the house, and that's how they always go around. So if that's the way they always go around inside their house without their hair covered, so then it would be permitted for the husband to stare at her hair, and therefore she wouldn't have to worry about covering her hair inside the house. However, I will point out that the Be'er Halacha says that all of the bracha that comes to a person's house only comes through the schusim that a wife gets by making sure to cover her hair even inside the house. It's also not such a good idea to run around your house with your hair uncovered. There's windows open and there are people coming at the door, and you can be scrabbling for a snoot. So anyway, it's not such a good practice to engage in anyway. Now the Chachamim really did not want to be mater wearing makeup or perfume during nida. They didn't really want to do it. However, they realized that if they don't allow a lady to get dressed up a little bit, then the husband may become somewhat disenfranchised with his wife, and that's also obviously not something that the Chachamim want. So therefore what they said was that a lady could put on makeup and could put on perfume, but only what's really, really necessary. So really we have to be careful not to overdo it during the nida, just wear what is necessary to look presentable. It is also usher to fill up a cup in front of your husband, or the same thing for your husband to fill up a cup in front of your wife. Even if it's not right in front of him, but if he sees you filling up a cup for him, that would be a problem. The same thing reverse. It is also usher to place food and drink right in front of your husband. However, the serving plate you could place right in front of your husband because that's not his private plate. Even if he's going to take first, still that would be mutter because that's not his private plate. It is also mutter to do it in a way of a hecker. So if you, let's say, normally do it with your right hand and you're doing it with your left hand, it's going to look a little sloppier, then you could do that also. It's a hecker. And also, you could also put the food not right in front of him. You can put the food a little bit to his side, and that also be a hecker, and that would be good enough. Also, it would be mutter for water. Water is not such a chosh of a drink, so it would be mutter to put water right in front of your husband, and also a drink that's not completely done. So let's say black coffee, you're allowed to get put in front of your husband, and then he will add the sugar and the milk. That would be okay because you're not giving him a finished product. It is usher for a husband or wife to fill up water for the other person to use to wash themselves. However, it would be mutter if it's rechitza shel mitzvah. So if, let's say, netilas yadayim, a husband is allowed to fill up his wife's cup for netilas yadayim, and same thing, she would be allowed to fill up the cup for him to use for netilas yadayim. That would be mutter. It is usher to send your wife a cup of wine, and that's true even if she's not in the same room as you. She's in the kitchen, you're in the living room. You want to send her a cup of wine. That would be usher. Also, it doesn't make a difference if it's a kiddush wine either. If it's kiddush wine, then it's still usher to send your wife a cup of wine, and therefore, what's preferable is if you just drink the cup of wine and she wants to drink from your cup, just put the cup down and she'll come and drink from the cup. That's okay. Also, if you fill up a bunch of different cups of wine after you finish making kiddush, and everyone can take whichever cup they want, that would also be mutter because you're not giving her directly a specific cup. But if you tell somebody, here, pass this to mommy, that would be, so I tell your kid that would be a problem. Also, if you're eating by somebody else's house and they tell you, here, send this to your wife, that would be mutter because you're not the one sending it, it's that person sending it, and he's just sending it through you, that would be mutter. If unfortunately some people get sick during the Meinida and they're very sick and they really need help around and they really want to relax some of the halachas of Harchokos, this is a big shaila, and it has to be asked at the time. There are perhaps, depending on the situation, certain Harchokos that could be relaxed, and again, if that ever arises, the shaila has to be asked because it's very detail oriented. Okay, so that finishes up for Harchokos, and Mirz Hashem, next week we'll move on to something new.